Welcome to the Madison Miller Podcast. Today is Wednesday, December 14th, 2022. Today I'm going to recap yesterday's college basketball, NBA, and NHL games. Look ahead to tonight's games in each sport. We have the second World Cup semifinal game between France and Morocco. I have NBA power rankings for you today. We have the season finale of Survivor tonight, news and notes, and best bet. All right, college basketball. We will recap the games from yesterday and look ahead to tonight's games. And there's not that many for a Wednesday. Tennessee Martin over Bethel, Tennessee, 103-75. Omaha over Midland, 104-72. Longwood over St. Fran, Brooklyn, 63-57. George Washington over Coppin State, 83-71. American over VMI, 69-61. NC State over Furman, 92-73. FAMU over Edward Waters, 58-47. St. Peter's over Hartford, 58-57. UNC Asheville over SC State, 94-84. UMBC over Loyola Maryland, 72-69. Greensboro over Marshall, 75-67. Rhode Island over UMass Lowell, 77-75. In overtime, Iona over Princeton, 70-64. Richmond over Fairleigh Dickinson, 77-48. BU over Dartmouth, 67-59. LSU over NC Central, 67-57. Xavier over Southern, 79-59. North Carolina over the Citadel, 167. BCU over Stonehill, 63-56. Number 5 Houston over NCAT, 74-46. Mary Hardin Bay upsets Texas State, 71-65. UIC over Prairie View, 70-61. Murray State over Chicago State, 66-65. Wichita State over Mississippi Valley State, 71-48. Howard over FIU, 71-59. Southern Illinois over Lincoln, Missouri, 88-51. St. Thomas, Minnesota over Green Bay, 82-61. Southern Miss over Lamar, 91-65. Utah Valley over Sagu AIC, 154. Texas Tech over Eastern Washington, 77-70. Number 9, Arizona over A&M Corpus Christi, 99-61. Florida State over SC Upstate, 80-63. Number 4, Alabama over Memphis, 91-88. Boise State over New Orleans, 91-50. Pacific over Stanislaus State, 80-56. UC Davis over Holy Names, 107-55. Utah over UTSA, 91-70. Santa Clara for Portland State, 78-75. And Washington over Cal Poly, 74-68. All right, now we look ahead to today's games. 6 o'clock, we have William Peace Campbell. We could skip. 7 o'clock, ESPNU, Stephen F. Austin, Louisiana Tech. Projections, La Tech by 8 total, 147 and 9/10. And we have 4.5 and 145.5. I'm going to lay it with La Tech. Eastern Kentucky, Northern Kentucky. My line's Northern Kentucky by 4.5, total 138 and 11/20. And it is 5.5 and 136.5. Over. Wright State and Akron. My line is Akron by 11 3/4, total 141 and 4/5. And it is 6.5 and 134.5. I'm going to take the over. Stetson, Charleston. My line is Charleston 16, total 149 and 2/5. And it is on FanDuel 14.5 and 146.5. Another over. Carolina University, Gardner-Webb, St. Thomas, Florida, FAU. We can skip. Miami of Ohio, Cincinnati. My line is Cincinnati by 18, total 151 and 3/20. And it is 15.5 and 148.5. Over. Coastal Carolina and South Dakota. That was a tongue twister to say for some reason. Mine's South Dakota by 1 1/4, total 138 and 11/20. And it is for some reason it's not on here. Unless they move the game time. I can't find it. So I'm going to quickly check Vegas Insider. It's South Dakota by 3.5. Total 139.5. I'm going to take Coastal getting the points. Morehead State, Georgia Southern. My line is Morehead State by 3/4, total 133 and 19/20. And we got 5.5 and 128.5 in favor of Georgia Southern. Give me more to say plus 5.5 and plus 188 to win. Next up, you have Radford and VCU. All right, my line is Radford as a 19.5 point underdog, total 138.5, and it is 9.5 and 132.5. Give me VCU minus the points. LIU Albany, my line is Albany 11 1/4, total 146 1/4, and it's 8.5 and 146.5. I'm going to lay it with Albany. Queens and East Tennessee State, my line's East Tennessee State by 6, total 140 and 17/20. And it is it's another one I can't find. The Queens East Tennessee State game. East Tennessee State by 2.5, total 143.5. I'm going to lay it with East Tennessee State. DePaul Duquesne. My line is Duquesne by 2 1/4, total 150 and 9/20. And it's 2.5 and 148.5. Slight over. Drexel Seton Hall on Fox Sports 1. My line is Seton Hall by 13 1/4, total 129 and 3/4. And it is 13.5 and 126.5 over. South Carolina UAB on CBS Sports Network. My line is UAB by 7 1/4, total 145 and 3/10, and it is 16.5 and 143.5. I'm taking South Carolina getting the points. That's way too many points. ESPN 2, Ohio, Florida. My line is Florida by 12 3/4, total 147 and 2/5, and it's 12.5 and 142.5. I'm taking the over. App State, Wake Forest, ACC Network. My line's App State as a 14.5 point underdog, total 142 and 3/10. It's 12.5 and 141.5. I'm gonna lay with Wake. 7:30 SEC Network. Jackson State at number 17, Mississippi State. Emotional game from Starkville tonight after the passing of Mike Leach. My line is Miss State by 30, total 135 and a 20th, and it is 5. Can't find that game either. Let's see here. FanDuel doesn't have it. 21.5 or 21 and 130.5. I'm gonna lay it with Mississippi State. Reinhardt, Jacksonville State, we can skip. Sam Houston, UL Monroe. My line is Sam Houston by 6 1/4, total 132 and 7/20. And we got 11.5 and 129.5. I'm going to take UL Monroe getting the points at home. UCF Ole Miss. My line is Ole Miss 7 3/4, so 133 and 3/4. And it's 5.5 and 128.5. I'm going to take the over. 8 o'clock, Georgia State at number 19, Auburn. My line's Auburn 18 3/4, so 131.5. And it's 20.5 and 133.5. Under. Charleston Southern, Tennessee State. And we could skip Bellevue and South Dakota State. My line is Tennessee State by 11 1/4, total 142.5, and it is 5.5 and 146.5. I'm going to lay it with State. Southeast Missouri State and Arkansas State. My line is a pick in 133 and 9/10, and it is 3.5 and 135.5. Give me Southeast Missouri State getting the 3.5 and plus 146 to win outright. Bowling Green, Norfolk State. My line is Norfolk 4.5, total 144 and 11/20, and it is 5.5 and 144.5. Slight Bowling Green. Tennessee Tech and Lipscomb. My line is Lipscomb 13 3/4, total 148 9/10, and it is 10.5 and 146.5. I'm going to lay the points at Lipscomb. Big Ten Network, Arkansas, Pine Bluff, and Minnesota. My line's Minnesota by 23 3/4, total 134. And the 20th, and it is 16.5 and 137.5. I'm going to lay with Minnesota. Bellevue and South Dakota State was actually postponed. 9 o'clock Fox Sports 1, number 16 UCLA, and number 20 Maryland. My line's UCLA by 2 3/4, total 140 and 3/5. And it's 1.5 and 140.5. Give me UCLA plus the 1.5 and plus 104 to win outright. Pac-12 Network, UC Riverside at Oregon. Mine's Oregon 19, total 136 and 9/10, and it's 14.5 and 136.5. Landed with Oregon. Colorado Christian Denver, we can skip. ESPN 2, Western Kentucky Louisville at 9 o'clock. My line is Western by 5.5, total 133 and 9/10, and it is 7.5 and 132.5. I hate the pick, but I'm going to take Louisville getting the points. 10 o'clock, New Mexico State, St. Mary's. My line, St. Mary's 16, total 135 and 3/4, and it is 12.5 and 128.5. I'm going to take the over. UC San Diego and Nevada. My line is Nevada by 16 and 3/4, total 136 and 13/20. And it is 14.5 and 136.5. I'm going to lay with Nevada. And last but not least, 11 o'clock on the Pac-12 Network, Long Beach State and USC. My line's SC 20.5, total 138 and 3/5, and it's 12.5 and 144.5. I'm going to lay to 12.5 with SC. All right, now I'll move on to the NBA. We will recap the games from yesterday and look ahead to the games for tonight. 76ers over the Kings, 123-103. Bucks over the Warriors, 128-111. Rockets over the Suns, 111-97. Jazz over the Pels, 121-100. And the Celtics over the Lakers, 122-118 in overtime. Big slate tonight, 7 o'clock. You have the Pistons at the Hornets from Charlotte. I have Pistons 3, total 226 and a quarter as my projection, and it is Charlotte by 3, total 227.5. Give me Detroit plus a 3 and plus 1 straight route, right? I know Cade's out for the year, but Charlotte's missing a bunch of guys too. Warriors Pacers. My line is Warriors by 2 3/4, total 232, and the 20th, and it is 1.5 and 238 on their Hawks Magic. My line is Hawks 2.5, total 224 and 3/5, and it's 3 and 225.5. Slight under. 7:30 Kings Raptors. My line's Raptors 1 1/4, total 226 and 4/5, and it's 5 and 231. I am going to take the under. ESPN 7:30 Knicks Bulls. You would think Mike Breen for this one, right? Or Ryan Ruocco, maybe. If I had to guess blindly who does this game, I'm gonna say, I think we might see Hubie Brown. Maybe Mark Jones and Hubie Brown. Doris and Mark Jones of the Knicks last week. Maybe Mike Breen and Hubie, but part of me thinks Mike Breen's going to be on MSG tonight because Kenny Albert does hockey. And then Ed Cohen would have to go to TV, and then Rangers reporter on MSG, John Giannone, would go to TV. But if I had to blindly guess, I'm going to say it's like Ryan Ruocco and Hubie Brown. And then the second game's going to be Dave Pasch and Mark Jackson, or Dave Pasch and Richard Jefferson, or something like that. So, my line is Knicks by 3.25, 226.25, and it is Bulls by 4, total 227. That's ridiculous. That's because they think Jalen Brunson's not playing. But if Brunson doesn't play, I still have the Knicks as a favorite. That's ridiculous. That is probably one of the worst lines I've seen all year, and that's if Brunson plays. But Brunson's not worth that much to this spread. Give me the Knicks plus 4 and plus 142 outright. Heat Thunder at 8. My line is Thunder by 3/4, total 225, and 720. Its ended is Heat by 3, total 224. Give me the Thunder getting the 3 and plus 122 to win. Trailblazers Spurs. My line's Blazers 7.5, total 226 and 9/10, and it's 7 and 231. Under. 9 o'clock, Cavs Mavs. My line's Mavs by a half, total 219, and it is 2 and 216.5 over. Wiz Nuggets. My line is Nuggets by 12, total 226. And we got Nuggets 10, total 226. I'm going to lay the 10 with the Nuggets. And last but not least, on ESPN, you have the Timberwolves and the Clippers. My line is Clippers by 9.25, total 224. And 3/10, and it's 6 and 221.5. I'm going to lay the 6 with the Clippers. All right, now I'll move on to hockey. We'll go over the results from yesterday and look ahead to what I think is a smaller window for tonight. Bruins over the Islanders 4-3 in a shootout. Sabres over the Kings 6-0. Canes over the Red Wings 1-0. Panthers over the Blue Jackets 4-0. Stars over the Devils 4-1. Lightning over the Kraken 6-2. Maple Leafs over the Ducks 7-0. Oilers over the Preds 6-3. Golden Knights over the Jets 6-5. So best bet was a winner. Capitals over the Blackhawks 7-3. As Alex Ovechkin gets his 800th career goal. Avs over the Flyers 3-2. And the Sharks over the Coyotes 3-2. All right, 3 games tonight. 7 o'clock, you have the Canadiens at the Senators. Sens minus 205. Habs plus 168. Over under 6.5. Overs minus 106. Unders minus 114. Habs plus 1.5 is minus 142. Sens minus 1.5 is plus 168. Give me the Canadiens plus 168 to win straight up. 7:30 TNT. Red Wings Wild. Wild minus 255. Red Wings plus 205. Over under 6. Overs minus 118. Unders minus 104. Red Wings plus 1.5 is minus 118. Wild minus 1.5 is minus 104. These two teams have the same number of points. It's ridiculous with the favoritism that the Minnesota Wild get. Give me Detroit puck line, plus 1.5 and minus 118. And last but not least, 10 o'clock TNT, you have the Canucks at the Flames. The Flames minus 178. The Canucks are plus 146. Over under 6.5. Overs minus 102. And there's minus 120. Canucks plus 1.5 is minus 168. Flames minus 1.5 is plus 136. I like the over in this game too. I think that there's going to be a lot of goals in this game. All right, World Cup. We will recap yesterday's semifinal and look ahead to today's semifinal. Argentina over Croatia 3-0. A good game played by Croatia, or a good run by Croatia comes to an end. Argentina played a great game. So Argentina goes up 1-0 on a goal by Lionel Messi. That was a penalty kick in the 34th minute. And then Julian Alvarez in the 39th minute makes it 2-0. And then in the 69th minute, Alvarez again makes it 3-0 as Argentina goes on to the final. And at 2 o'clock on Fox, they have France and Morocco. Morocco, obviously the darling of Group F that made it this far. France comes out of Group D. I know the dream final is France-Argentina. That's the one a lot of people wanted before the tournament began. And France is minus 440. Morocco is plus 320. So the gift that keeps on giving in this tournament is over 2.5 goals at plus money. This is plus 124. I think Morocco has a shot here. They're plus 320, but I'm not going to give that out. France is too talented. I'm going to take the over 2.5 goals at plus 124. All right, now I'm going to do my power rankings for the NBA. We're going to try to be quick here. A lot has changed from a couple weeks ago when I did these. Teams are playing better. Some teams are doing worse. So without further ado, here we go. Number 30 is the Detroit Pistons. They're 7-22 on the season. 3-7 in their last 10. Losers of 3 straight. Cade Cunningham out for the year. Number 29 is the Charlotte Hornets. They're 7-20 on the year. 3-7 in their last 10. Losers of 5 straight. They're pretty much tanking too, sitting everybody. Number 28 is the Orlando Magic. They're 8-20 on the year. 3-7 in their last 10, but they won their last 3 games. Number 27 is the San Antonio Spurs. They're 9-18 on the season. 3-7 in their last 10. Also winners of 3 straight. Number 26 is the Houston Rockets. They're 9-18 on the season too. 6-4 in their last 10. They've won their last 2. Coming off the win over the Suns. Paul Silas passed away. We talked about that on the show. It's just very sad. Number 25 is the Oklahoma City Thunder. They're 11-16 on the season. 4-6 in their last 10. Losers of 3 straight. Number 24 is the Washington Wizards. They are 11-17 on the season. 1-9 in their last 10. Losers of 7 straight. Kind of bowing out of the Eastern Conference play-in race. 2 back of Miami. Literally closer... I was almost closer to Orlando in the standings than Miami. Number 23 is the Chicago Bulls. They are 11-15 on the season. They're 1 game back of Miami in the play-in tournament, and then they're 5-5 in their last 10. Number 22 is the Los Angeles Lakers. They are 11-16 on the season, 500 in their last 10. And they are 2.5 back of Golden State for the final play-in spot. Number 21 is the Miami Heat. They are 13-15 on the season. 6-4 in their last 10. They have a negative point differential. Numbers, I know it's where numbers 3 through 10 or even 11 in the East are 5 games apart. 3 through 11 are 5 games apart in the standings. Number 20 is the Minnesota Timberwolves. They are 13-14 on the year, a half spot back of Golden State for the final play-in spot. 4-6 in their last 10. Losers are back-to-back games. Number 19 is the Indiana Pacers. They are 14-14 on the season, 3-7 in their last 10. Losers of 2 straight, kind of reverting back to what people think they are. Number 18 is the Atlanta Hawks. They're 14-14 on the season. 3-7 in their last 10. DeJounte Murray hurt. Number 17 is the Toronto Raptors. They're 13-14 on the season. 4-6 in their last 10. Losers of back-to-back games. Positive point differential, though. So there's some hope. But the thing with Toronto is they're awesome at home and they're awful on the road. 10-3 compared to 3-11. Golden State's like that, too. Number 16 is the Sacramento Kings, so they are in the bottom half of the power rankings now with their struggles. They're 14-12 on the season, 4-6 in their last 10, losers of back-to-back games. Number 15 is the Utah Jazz. They are 16-14 on the season, 4-6 in their last 10. Number 14 is the New York Knicks. They are 6th in the East, 14-13 on the season. 6-4 in the last 10, winners of 4 straight. So them and another team have the longest winning streaks in the East. We'll get to that other team in a moment. Number 13 is the Dallas Mavericks. They are 14-13 on the season, 9th in the West, 500 in their last 10. Positive point differential. Number 12 is the Los Angeles Clippers, 16-13 on the season, 500 in the last 10, winners of back-to-back games. Negative point differential, though. Number 11 is the Portland Trailblazers. They're 15-12 on the season, 500 in the last 10. Winners of back-to-back games, so pretty much the same as the Clippers. But they're 5th in the West, but they're pretty much tied. Number 10 is the Golden State Warriors. They are 14-14 on the season, 6-4 in their last 10. They lost their last game, but that Celtics win, I think, puts them in the top 10 alone. 12-2 at home, but terrible. 2-12 on the road. Number 9 is the Phoenix Suns. They're 16-12 on the season, 4-6 in their last 10, losers of 5 straight. And now DeAndre Ayton is hurt. 2.5 back of the 1 seed. And they're 4th in the West. 8 is the Philadelphia 76ers. They are 15-12 on the season, 6-4 in their last 10, winners of 3 straight. They're starting to get together a little bit. 10-5 at home, 5-7 on the road. Number 7 is the Cleveland Cavaliers. They're 17-11 on the season, 3rd in the East, 500 in their last 10. Couple injuries, though. Number 6 is the Brooklyn Nets. 17-12 on the year, 4th in the East. 8-2 in their last 10, winners of 4 straight. So, tied for the longest winning streaks in the Eastern Conference, you have the 2 New York teams. Combined winners of 8 straight. And Brooklyn, 10-5 at home, 500 on the road. So things are looking good right now for the Nets. Number 5 is the Denver Nuggets. They are 16-10 on the season, 3rd in the West, 6-4 in the last 10, winners of back-to-back games. Number 4 is the New Orleans Pelicans. 1st in the West at 18-9 on the season, 8-2 in their last 10, but they lost their last game to the Jazz. 12-3 at home, but 500 on the road. Number 3 is the Memphis Grizzlies, tied for 1st in the West with New Orleans at 18-9. Longest winning streak in the NBA at 6 straight. They're 8-2 in their last 10. 12-2 at home, but 6-7 on the road. But no Desmond Bane for some of those games on the road, and no Ja either for some of those road games. Number 2 is the Milwaukee Bucks. They're 20-7 on the season, 1 back of the 1 seed as they're 2nd in the East, 8-2 in their last 10. Coming off a win over Golden State. And the number 1 team in the power rankings is the Boston Celtics, 22-7 on the season. I know they lost 2 of their last 3 to the the Clippers and the Warriors, respectively. They almost lost 3 straight. They almost lost to the Lakers last night. Despite all that, they're still number 1. This is just a slump, I guess. 7-3 in their last 10. Best point differential in the NBA at 6.8. 11-2 at home, 11-5 on the road. They're so good. And I still think Jason Tatum is the favorite for the MVP at the time. All right, now we are going to discuss the season finale of Survivor, which is tonight, 8 o'clock on CBS. Down to the final 5. We have Jesse, we have Gabler, we have Owen, we have Carla, and we have Cassidy. I think it's going to be a great finale. These are 5 really good contestants that have earned their way there. So, obviously, they have the individual immunity challenge. And then the winner of that goes to the finals and picks one person to go with them to the final 3. And then they vote somebody out. And then the 2 people that were not voted out and were not to the finals compete in the fire-making challenge. And the winner of that goes to the final and the loser goes home. And then we go to tribal council again. And then the jury asks questions to the contestants, and then the jury votes the winner of Sole Survivor. So, I'm going to make my guesses. My guess for who to win the individual immunity challenge. I think that this person has been trending up in the challenge. She's been great all year. She's been battling injuries throughout the season. And I think she's due to come through, and that's Carla. And I think she will take her Coco tribe mate Cassidy with her to the final. Even though there's been some turmoil with those two lately and wanting to vote each other out. But I think they're going to stick together and go to the final together. The person that I think will be voted out Why do I think that Jesse's going to get voted out? Like, for some reason, I feel like there's a possibility of Jesse getting voted out. And the girls want to make the big move. But I just don't see Gabler in the final three. So my guess is that the girls are going to try to vote out Jesse. But Jesse and Owen, I know Owen and Gabler are both in the Baca tribe. But I have a feeling that they want to vote out Gabler. So I bet you it's going to be 2 votes for Jesse, 2 votes for Gabler, and then Gabler tries to vote out Carla for some reason. I don't know. Because I don't think Gabler will side with the girls. I bet you Gabler's the one left out of the vote. Because obviously they try to throw him off the scent. So I'm going to say he votes Carla. Jesse and Owen vote Gabler, and Cass and Carla vote Jesse. And then they revote, and then Gabler is out. And then the fire-making challenge will be between Owen and Jesse. And by the way, I know Owen's in the fire-making challenge because I saw that in the preview for next week. So I think it'll be Owen against Jesse in the fire-making challenge. I think Jesse prevails. And the final 3 will be Cassidy, Carla, and Jesse. And then I think the person that is going to be named Sole Survivor will be the person that amazingly pulled off a vote off for this person's alliance. This person has been great all season. And I'm going to say that your winner of Survivor 43 will be Durham, North Carolina's own Jesse Lopez. I think he's deserving of it. I think he's been one of, if not the best player of the season. I think Cassidy's right there. And I think Carla has been really good and resilient all year too. Or all season. I think that Owen has been somebody that has caught lucky break after lucky break. And same for Cassidy. If anybody is this season's Marianne, it's Cassidy. And Owen, to me, is this season's Romeo. So I'm going to say Jesse is named Sole Survivor. And it's going to be a really fun finale. For sure. All right, now move on to news and notes for today. There's not a lot to talk about, but the big news of last night broke around midnight last night. The San Francisco Giants signed Carlos Correa, 13 years, $350 million. It's the fourth highest guaranteed total in MLB history, most ever for a shortstop. And this was after it was reported that the Mets were making a run at Correa. And then the Giants gave the money that they were hoping to give Aaron Judge to Carlos Correa. I personally think that Carlos Correa is a better fit for San Francisco than Aaron Judge. I think that Correa is better suited for there than Judge. I think that there's going to be pressure on Correa, but there would have been more pressure on Judge there. I think the contract's crazy, obviously. I think the first 3 quarters of the contract are going to potentially be solid, but the end of it's going to be bad. That's like how every bad contract goes. I mean, Albert Pujols was the worst bad contract of late, but that's just a huge get for the San Francisco Giants. And the Twins offered 10 years, $285 million. So the Twins lose Carlos Correa. And where do they go now? Do they pivot to Dansby Swanson? Do they go for Carlos Rodon? So now I think Carlos Rodon will sign today. I think it's either going to be Minnesota or St. Louis or a mystery team. I don't think the Yankees are signing Carlos Rodon because the Yankees never sign a player that's not a star that is linked to them. Patrick Corbin, not a star. Or I should say a player from another team. I know this happens in trades too. Luis Castillo, Ohtani in 2017 is a good example. And the only times the Yankees sign people that are heavily linked to them are stars, except for obviously Bryce and Manny. In which the reason why my conspiracy that the Yankees didn't sign those guys is because they were planning on the keeping Judge and Stanton around. And if they didn't pull off the Stanton trade, then one of those guys is probably a Yankee, I'd say. But that's another story for another day. I think Rodon signs today. I think it's going to be Minnesota or the Cardinals. And I think that Dansby Swanson will probably be a Twin. So that does make the argument for Rodon to the Yankees, I guess. And then, or St. Louis, but, or maybe St. Louis signs Swanson and Minnesota signs Rodon. But we'll see what happens. And then, obviously, San Francisco was talking to Swanson, but he's obviously not going there anymore unless they pull the Rangers from last year. The Braves could trade Max Fried as they may explore options for him if they cannot agree on an extension. This doesn't stun me. I gotta be honest. That's because they have a lot of money tied into a lot of players. And Max Fried is someone who's really, really good, but has had injury history, I think, in the past, if I'm not mistaken. So it wouldn't be completely stunning if they were to trade him. Real signed Ryan Yarbrough on a 1-year deal. I like that pickup for them. If they're bad, they trade him at the deadline. The Giants signed Ross Stripling 2 years, $25 million. I like that signing for San Fran. I think he's suited very well in that ballpark. Back into that rotation. Mississippi State to play in the Relia Quest Bowl. And that's what Coach Leach would want. I said that on the podcast yesterday. And by the way, Carlos Rodon prefers the Yankees, but the Twins and Cards are serious in play. That's going to NJ.com, who I think are not the best at reporting. Back to football. Miles Murphy entered the draft and will skip the Orange Bowl. I like Miles Murphy a lot. I think he's going to potentially be a top 10 pick in the draft. He's one of my favorite pass rushers in the entire draft. Kyler Murray out for the season with torn ACL. Not surprised, but very sad, obviously. Hopefully he gets well soon. The Players Association reviewing the Parker injury as they're reviewing the handling of the concussion on Monday Night Football. Odell Beckham likely to sign 2023. And teams believe that Odell will wait to join a new team to be the prize of free agent wide receiver class. I think that's the right thing if you're Odell to wait because you're still coming off that injury. And I think that he will have a better impact in 2023 than he would have had this year. Obviously, Alex Ovechkin got his 800th goal. We were talking about that, and the Blackhawk fans were chanting Ovi, Ovi, which was very respectful of them. And good on ESPN because they got that game, and they also got a good rating for it. The NBA coaches embrace, obviously, Monty Williams and Stephen Salas after the death of Stephen's father Paul, which was nice. And the Rockets have been shopping Eric Gordon, and roughly a half a dozen teams have been in on Gordon. And I think that he would be a good fit on a bunch of teams. I really do. And very sad news breaking right now. Ellen DeGeneres show DJ Stephen Twitch passes away at the age of 40 by suicide. That is just awful news. Twitch was so fun on that show and really got that crowd going during her shows. Yeah, DJ Stephen Boss. That is just awful news coming down from TMZ right now. All right, last but not least, my best bet of the day brought to you by FanDuel. This is a hard one. But there was a hockey one that stood out. I'm going to lay a half unit on this one. And it's going to be the over 6.5 in the Canucks Flames game. I just think that this is going to be a high-scoring game. And I wouldn't be shocked if it's a similar score to the Jet Golden Knight game from last night. So over 6.5 between the Canucks and the Flames for my best bet of the day. All right, that's it for the podcast. I'll be back tomorrow recapping everything, including the Survivor finale. We'll do NHL Power Rankings on tomorrow's show as well. Hope you guys have a wonderful day, everyone.